Hi, Cory here from AutoMeter Products. Today we're going to be working on this 77 Ford pickup truck, and we're going to be installing the AutoMeter InVision dash. This is for 1973 to 1979 models, and comes with wire harness, vent cover, so if you've got AC delete, it's already set up for factory shaft style radio, and we've also got a diagram on the back where you can cut it out for a more modern radio. And so follow along as we install this into this truck. We're going to start off with our disassembly here by removing the tachometer that's been added on and also the factory radio. And then there's screws running up here in the factory bezel. We're going to remove those screws. We're going to save them for later. And there's also this cover down here for the steering column that we may end up removing in order to lower the steering column if needed in order to get this whole cluster out. Okay, so we're going to start removing the bezel here. In order to do that, there's screws that run up through here that you have to remove. There's a screw here that I've already removed. The windshield wiper knob simply pulls off. And then for the lights, you want to pull the lights all the way out, reach behind, and there's a spring-loaded button on the headlight switch. When you push that button with the lights already full on, you can then pull the headlight knob and stem out, and that will be out of your way. We're also going to have the radio to remove here. The temperature controls will stay intact. No need to remove those. Now that we have the instrument panel bezel out of the way, we've got the factory instrument cluster we're going to remove. There are screws up here and down here in the corners. Those are going to be removed, and then we need to disconnect the speedometer cable on the back side of the unit. With the instrument cluster unscrewed, I have access to get my hand back here easily to get the speedometer cable undone. If you feel around, you'll notice that there's a flat side to the speedometer cable connector. If you squeeze on that and push in towards the cluster and then pull, you can get the cable disconnected. You can see this flat side here where my thumb is. When you squeeze that, it allows you to disconnect. And then lastly, you have a wire harness back here that you need to disconnect from the cluster. It's got two tabs, one on each side. If you squeeze those right here and you just give it a little rock, it will unplug. Okay. We've got most of our wiring taken care of here. I've used this adapter here to plug into the factory harness. I'm in the process of capping off any unused wiring. I've got everything else bundled up nice. Now I've got a separate wire for tachometer and speedometer, which will connect outside of this connector. Same with ground. Even though the factory connector many times has a ground, that ground is years old. It's decades old. So I'm actually going to use my own ground to chassis or engine. And then also, I purposely left these guys long. This is going to be key on power and also battery power for memory. I did this because I put an inline fuse in each of these wires and I want them to hang down a little bit lower than everything else. So in the event that you've got to check a fuse, you can easily reach them from underneath the dash. So in just a couple minutes here, we're going to plug it in and we're going to see it power up.
There you go.
Oh, we've plugged our dash in. We're not fully mounted yet because we're going to test it first. I've also put the headlight switch knob back into place so I can function the lights. So let's fire it up. So there we are. We got our tachometer, our oil pressure, volts. We got our speedometer, which we cannot check until we drive it. We've also got our temperature here, and over here we've got our fuel level. So far so good. Left turn, right turn. Now we're going to pull the lights on. We got our headlight dimmer, our high beam indicator. We're good to go. So we're going to finish up the install in here And then we'll take you underneath and show you how to do the speed sensor, and then we'll drive it. Okay, once you got this out from the transfer case or transmission, just get up underneath this clip. So there's the clip. Pull your gear off, and then we're going to transfer this over to the speed sender. I got it. Okay. Just like that. And now this is ready to go into the transfer case. Just like that. We'll put the bolt in. Do not remove this cap. This cap is a pass-through for old style cruise controls, and it's humus sealed on. So if you remove this cap, you're going to have to put some kind of sealant on there and then probably hose clamp it. But if you leave it alone, you've never pulled it off, it will not leak.